Hurricanes in 2022 and 2024 flooded the area in hopes they would help.
For that reason, when it, gets flooded back there, it's supposed to just go through the pipes, the drains, and go to the main drain in the cul-de-sac. It couldn't do that because that was backed up.
It wasn't just their neighborhood that flooded in Port Orange Sunday night. This is the aftermath in Seaside Gymnastics Training Center off Eastport Parkway. A viewer on Palmetto Street sent us this video saying it was after about an hour of rain. And Lauren Benning on Brittany Avenue off Spruce Creek Road says the water nearly took over their car parked in the road.
I don't remember our street being so flooded from just a regular rainstorm. Something is not right.
Is that becoming more regular?
It is.
These homeowners we talked to now asking if the city's projects it's promised to update its stormwater system are actually working.
It begs the question, what are they doing? What kind of work are they doing? Are they coming out and are they actually checking their drains to see if they're clogged?
I reached out to the city this morning to ask these questions in an interview, but I was told no one was available to speak today. I'm in Port Orange, Volusia County Community Correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Already removed by the governor once, State Attorney Monique Worrell is back in the state's crosshairs. This time, the State Attorney General is demanding Worrell drop a charge in a deadly road rage incident. Orlando Community Correspondent Mike Valenti joins us now live outside the Orange County Courthouse. And Mike, the state continues to keep Worrell under its microscope.
Yeah, Ginger, that's right. And usually we're talking about James Uthmeyer accusing Monique Worrell of being too soft on crime. But this is a case where he's actually suggesting that she might be overstepping. The Attorney General claiming that when Tina Algeo shot and killed Mikhail Tsetkov last December, she was standing her ground, acting in self-defense after a road rage incident had escalated. In a court hearing earlier this year, we were able to see surveillance video that appeared to show Tsetkov opening Algeo's car door. Algeo and her defense team claim Tsetkov then punched her several times before she grabbed her gun, which she did own lawfully, and shot Tsetkov. The state, however, contends that Algeo instigated the incident when she hit his car. Algeo says she hit Tsetkov's car accidentally following an encounter in which his car hit hers. Earlier today, I sat down with Algeo's attorney, Mark O'Mara, who defended George Zimmerman. He says he appreciates the Attorney General agreeing that this is a self-defense case, but he wasn't exactly enthused to see the Attorney General's post today.
Do you envision a scenario where the AG weighing on this could backfire for your case, even though he's imploring Monique Worrell to drop the prosecution?
I would much rather fly under the radar. I don't need to have the Attorney General and the sitting state attorney tussling over me, my case, my client's case, anything like that, because I'd rather just do it the way it's supposed to be done. I don't want external sources or pressures, be those political, social, whatever it might be. So I'm troubled by that.
In a statement, the state attorney responded to the Attorney General saying in part, quote, "Every day the Attorney General's inexperience with criminal prosecution becomes more abundantly clear." She went on to say that the issue of whether use of force was justified in this case is a matter for judicial determination, not for partisan politics. O'Mara, meanwhile, has filed a motion to dismiss, and a judge will determine whether stand your ground can be heard in this case, which will actually trigger whether this case will go forward. That hearing is scheduled for late October. I'm your Orlando Community Correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
Mike, thank you. The city of Orlando has approved funding for the Pulse Memorial to honor the 49 lives lost in the mass shooting. Now, the plan is a partnership between the city and Orange County, with Orlando committing $7 million and Orange County pledging $5 million, spread over 3 annual payments. Commissioner Patty Sheehan expressed her frustration with FDOT covering the crosswalk, but says the memorial is deserved.
The Florida Highway Patrol has been arresting people for chalking the colors in. I can't think of a bigger waste of state resources, because we certainly weren't going to arrest people for that. This also impacted crosswalks, bike lanes, school crossings all over Orlando and the state. What a stupid and unsafe idea.
The commissioner says the city has filed a letter of exception to the state for the crosswalk. Gomez Construction Company will be the construction firm that will design and build the memorial. The agreement has passed, and design work must start by October, with construction expected to begin next year. News 6 has been covering this story since the very beginning. And you may be wondering what happened to the original Pulse Memorial funding. We break it down for you based on past reporting and tax filings. Head to our website, clickorlando.com, for the full story.
Florida has started the process of getting rid of school vaccine mandates. We're now learning it will take effect in 90 days, but it will not cover all diseases. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez explains.
The health department can only eliminate a few vaccine mandates. The rest would need to come from the legislature. While the Surgeon General says this is the correct move for parents' rights, critics worry it will lead to outbreaks of preventable diseases.
There are countries out there that don't have vaccine mandates for school.
While discussing his decision to roll back vaccine mandates in Florida, Dr. Joseph Ladapo is stressing they aren't going away if parents still want them for their child.
If you want them, God bless you, you can have as many as you want. And if you don't want them, parents should have the ability and the power to decide what goes into their children's bodies. It's that simple.
Ending the mandate will make Florida the first state to end a long-standing and constitutionally upheld practice of requiring certain vaccines for school students. And the move is already in motion. It starts with a rule change from the health department that's expected to take effect in about 90 days, eliminating the mandate for several vaccines, including hepatitis B, chickenpox, and meningitis. The mandates for several other shots, including measles, polio, diphtheria, whooping cough, and mumps, would have to be lifted by the legislature. The decision has faced pushback from several medical groups, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, who argues the rollback will lead to outbreaks.
We saw the measles outbreak this year, more cases than we've seen in 30 years, over 1,400 people sick, many hospitalized, and unfortunately some people that passed. We can decrease these by kids getting vaccinated.
The rule change was started just last week, and since it takes 90 days to be put in place, those vaccine requirements will stay as they are for the next few months. Lawmakers meet again in early January. That's when they could decide to lift the mandate for other shots like measles and polio. In the studio, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
A city council candidate accused of attacking a driver could learn what's next for his job.
The criminal charges he's facing in the school district looking to suspend him while it all plays out in court. That's coming up.
She is the 70-year-old victim of a romance scam, now confronting the man arrested. Romance scams have become big business for criminals. I'm investigator Louis Bold, and I'll have the story coming up.
News 6 Insider is sponsored by Orange County Library System.
Just last month, News 6 told you about a Volusia County woman who lost $60,000 in 6 weeks in a romance scam. I'm News 6 investigator Lewis Bolden. Now detectives have arrested a North Carolina man. And in an unusual twist, the victim got to confront the suspect. It is this week's Schemes and Ripoffs Alert.
Sheriff Chitwood, I'm the one that arranged your trip back here.
Volusia County detectives arrested 56-year-old Corey Woodall for organized scheme to defraud and grand theft for allegedly spending $30,000 of Carol West's money.
This is the young lady whose $30,000 you took and bought the car and the lawnmower and everything.
And something we don't see every day, the 70-year-old victim got to confront him.
How many other people did you spend their money? I was sick. I was sick to my stomach. How could I fall for this?
Last month, we told you West was the victim of a romance scam. She thought she was chatting with Paul LaCamera, a U.S. Army general. The crook sent his pictures and said he was stuck overseas and needed $30,000 in cash to get back to the U.S.
So like a fool, I cashed in my only CD I had and mailed the cash to an address in North Carolina, which I didn't understand why it was going to North Carolina.
Volusia Sheriff's detectives tracked the money from Florida to North Carolina and finally to Woodall, but not before he spent it.
What kind of car did you buy?
What car did you buy?
23 Hyundai.
Woodall told detectives he wasn't chatting with West online, but the money was sent to him to launder, so he was going to, quote, scam the scammer and keep it.
How did you hook up with this guy?
Through my girlfriend.
Woodall admitted spending the $30K, but West had already sent the crooks another $30,000 in gift cards and Bitcoin. She hopes to recover some of it. Remember, don't fall for the scheme, don't get ripped off, but if you do, email me at theinvestigators@wkmg.com. I'm Lewis Bolden, News 6.
All right, time now for a check of your forecast. And right before we came into the studio, it was pouring down outside.
It was, and we're going to see that, I think, a lot in the next couple of hours at least. You might see things wind down on the earlier side when compared to last night, and then fire things back up again tomorrow. First and foremost, we do have a couple of rowdy thunderstorms. There are no warnings out there or anything like that, but these are producing a lot of lightning, some gusty winds, and some very, very heavy rainfall. These are moving from southwest to northeast. This one moving away from the turnpike, heads up in Melbourne. This the core of this one likely going to stay just to your north and west. Same for us in the Satellite Beach. We do have rain inbound. Grant Valkyria, good evening. We're likely going to see the makings of at least a couple of downpours sliding through with this particular cell. We'll take it further north up the turnpike into parts of Orange and Seminole County. Seminole County, we're taking it on the chin tonight. A lot of very heavy rain just north of us in Bithlo, Winter Park. We are getting in on that as well. Altamont Springs, good evening. Same for us in Winter Springs. Whole lot of lightning and heavy rain sliding through. A little bit lighter for us in Lake Mary and Sanford. Still some lightning around. So just be mindful of that. Taking you back further into northern and west Orange County. Some light rain in Apopka. The heavier stuff just on the south side of town. Ocoee, we are dry, but toward Crown Point, closer to Lake Apopka tonight, we're watching some of the heavier stuff. Asatula, we have some lightning around. The heaviest stuff extending back through Lake County into Mascot. Very, very heavy stuff. You're trying to go from Oakland to Winter Garden, maybe back up to Coleman. Be on the lookout for that. The turnpike is getting walked on with a ton of heavy rain right now. This is the reason. Another front came down, stalled out. We also have an area of low pressure hanging off of the Gulf Coast of Florida. You see it spinning there. That is going to pump in some really tropical moisture, and that is helping to aid in the heavy nature of the rainfall that we saw over the weekend and that we're likely going to see for the next several days. So here we go, 7 o'clock. A lot of these trying to push back down the turnpike and then fizzle out, although we are still going to keep some heavier downpours in the mix, especially closer to the coast through the overnight hours. At 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, watching for a few stray downpours right along the coast, and then we fire things up big time as we get closer to dinner time again. I think after lunch, we really start to rock things up with those scattered thunderstorms in the mix, and then that's 10 o'clock. You see how widespread those storms are, so we get a pretty unsettled Tuesday coming down the pipeline as well. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Renewal by Andersen.
As a result of the extra clouds around, it's going to be really humid, but temperatures back off a couple of extra degrees, back to the mid to upper 80s, rain chances at 80%. Again, we're in the soup still. Dew point temperatures into the mid 70s. That's that real summertime stuff that we feel all summer long. Not too far off, though. Dew point temperatures in the low 50s. That's the real comfy fall-like feel. There's a shot as we get into Friday and into the weekend, we might be able to shove this front further south, and then we get in on dew points back in the low 60s. If we have that settle in, it is going to feel fantastic this weekend. So keeping the fingers crossed there. It looks like we're going to have a shot at getting some of that drier air in here. 70% shot for rain Tuesday into Wednesday into Thursday. 40% shot for storms on Friday. And then there comes our drier weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. A local school district is getting ready to suspend one of its employees.
He's also a city council candidate facing charges in a road rage case.
Mr. O'Neill is a candidate for Groveland City Council, which I think itself speaks to his substantial ties to the community.
The job he has in local schools and the decision coming down tonight. That's next. A live look now at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando, delivering hope together.
In just a few hours, a city council candidate accused of attacking a man in a road rage incident is set to find out if he will stay on the job with a school district.
Jim O'Neill was arrested last month on false imprisonment and aggravated battery charges. It was just days after he won the primary election for the Groveland City Council. Police say O'Neill blocked a man on the road because he thought he was speeding, then put him in a headlock and headbutted him. He's now facing aggravated battery and false imprisonment charges. He bonded out of jail last month after facing a judge.
Mr. O'Neill is a candidate for Groveland City Council, which I think itself speaks to his substantial ties to the community. I understand he is a veteran. I don't believe he has any criminal history.
O'Neill works as a mitigation project manager with Lake County Schools. A spokesperson with the district says a suspension is a standard practice when an employee is charged with a felony until the case plays out in court. Tonight's meeting starts at 6.
There is a new push to bring a historic community into the future.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the revitalization plans for Goldsboro and its impact. That's next.
Usually when we talk about assessment fees skyrocketing, it's at condo associations. Not this time. It's here in this city for single-family homeowners for maintenance. This story coming up.
As we take a live look at our camera in Daytona Beach, you're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. We're following several top stories right now.
Storms yesterday evening brought flooding in Port Orange and New Smyrna Beach. Parts of Port Orange received nearly 4 inches of rain last night, inundating some neighborhoods with water. Homeowners we spoke with are now asking if the city's updated stormwater system is actually working. Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed reached out to the city to ask for an interview, but was told no one was available to speak. Police in Ocala are investigating how a 9-year-old brought a loaded gun onto a school bus this morning, headed to College Park Elementary School. Investigators say the student did not threaten anyone, but others saw the gun and told the bus driver. The Marion County School District says the child faces serious discipline discipline and legal action. The city of Orlando has approved funding for the Pulse Memorial to honor the 49 lives lost in the mass shooting. The plan is a partnership between the city and Orange County, with Orlando committing $7 million and Orange County pledging $5 million spread over 3 annual payments. Design work must start by October, with construction expected to begin in 2026.
Now to an assessment fee fight in Winter Springs. We've covered assessment fees soaring lately across Central Florida, especially at condo associations. But this potential hike would double fees in one of the oldest and largest subdivisions in Seminole County, Tuscaloosa. A third of the people who live in Winter Springs live in Tuscaloosa. We're talking about some 4,000 homeowners here. Your Winter Springs community correspondent Eric Von Aken is digging into this.
At the main entrance to the Tuscaloosa community is one of its most noticeable features, the fountain, newly repaired. The streetlights lining Winter Springs Boulevard are up for updating, and the median, once meticulously manicured, could use some care. But all of these things, of course, cost money to maintain, more so every year, according to the city of Winter Springs.
Anytime we ask our community for additional funding.
And according to this group, the Tuscaloosa Lighting and Beautification District Advisory Committee, which oversees the maintenance, and is asking city commissioners to approve hiking homeowners' fees to pay for the rising cost of maintenance.
Nobody wants a fee increase. I don't want one, you don't want one, but our community is really aging.
People who live here in Tuscaloosa have been paying for the maintenance in their tax bill since 1999, with a yearly assessment currently $128 per household.
Now, the Tuscaloosa Lighting and Beautification District, that's the TLBD, wants to double the annual assessment to $255. People just got this notice in their mailbox telling them about the proposed hike, and the vote on this tomorrow night at City Hall.
In this 130-page packet, the city explains the purpose of the proposed increase. Over the years, maintenance costs have increased beyond the maximum allowable rates, and the fund balance is depleting.
But after the notices showed up in mailboxes, more than half a dozen posts showed up on Facebook, generating collectively hundreds of comments, most of them strongly opposing any fee increase. The Winter Springs Community Association even organized a petition protesting the hike, and even one of the board members at the last meeting acknowledged the blowback.
Year after year, it just looks bad, and it just looks bad, and it just looks bad. People are thinking, what am I paying into it all? But we sure have some fountain situation going on over here. And I can't tell you how many people have said, screw the fountains.
And I can't tell you how many people are going to show up here at City Hall tomorrow night for the discussion and then the vote on this. But I can tell you the mayor has been asked to talk about this at several homeowners meetings recently. He said at one of them, organizers requested that police be there. That's how contentious this has gotten. We'll let you know what happens, of course. I'm your Winter Springs community correspondent, Eric Von Aken, News 6.
Leaders in Sanford are getting ready to vote on a new fire fee. The proposed fee would raise about $2.1 million to help fund the fire department, mainly for new equipment. Neighbors have pushed back, saying many families are already being stretched thin. But the mayor says skipping the fee could put future fire services and equipment at risk.
You can put lipstick on the pig and it's still a pig, and that is a tax. I don't care what you say, that is an attack. And it wasn't assessed, it is an imposed, not voted for tax.
Well, one option is to not do it, which puts us really more in the next year, future years, at risk with keeping up with equipment for our fire department or other costs.
Tonight's meeting starts at 7 o'clock. Now, Sanford is not the only place in Central Florida talking about more funding for the fire department. Kissimmee, Ocoee, Mount Dora, and Brevard County have all debated, added, or bumped up their fire fees in the past few months.
Today is the first day for the hunting sales tax holiday in Florida, offering tax breaks on hunting gear. The state is exempting sales tax on items like guns, ammunition, camping, and fishing equipment. This holiday was part of a broad tax package passed in June. Governor DeSantis kicked off the holiday at an outdoor equipment store in Plant City.
And if you purchase guns or ammo during our Second Amendment holiday, we are inviting you to exercise your rights at one of FWC's public shooting sports ranges.
Now, the governor says half-price passes will be offered on its public shooting ranges through the end of the year in honor of America's 250th birthday and the Second Amendment. The hunting sales tax holiday runs through the end of the year.
For so many Americans, they knew they were getting close to Central Florida by the billboards on the side of the highway counting down to Cocoa Beach. Ron Jon is perhaps the most famous surf shop in the world. The founder died over the weekend. News 6's Darrell Baker is in Brevard County with how he put Cocoa Beach on the map as a surfing destination.
Obviously, I would say he was a huge part of Cocoa Beach. We might not be on the map where we are today.
Right off Atlantic Avenue in Cocoa Beach, you can't miss the larger-than-life statues, surfboards, and the large columns at the Ron Jon Surf Shop. It's where Ron DeMena opened his second shop in the 1960s when Mayor Keith Capizzi was just a kid. Now, it's the world's largest surf shop.
It was awesome. It was amazing. As a kid, to see something like Disney World-esque in your town, it was something really cool.
DeMena died Saturday at the age of 88. He not only opened the Ron Jon Surf School and the museum in the area, but also gave back to local events like Surfing Santas.
What Surfing Santas did as far as bringing people together on the beach for a good time, and then the fact that Surfing Santas became a community fundraiser, I think he was happy about that as well.
Another major supporter of the store was world-renowned surfer Kelly Slater. Mayor Capizzi says that they'll be donating one of his boards from when he was a child to the Ron Jon Surf Museum. He said it would keep their connection to his unique local history alive for future generations of people looking to hang tin in Central Florida. In Cocoa Beach, Darrell Baker, News 6.
For cities across Central Florida that have seen and felt change, they often face the same challenge: how to revitalize their communities. Your Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver explores what could be the answer for historic Goldsboro in the heart of Sanford.
If Goldsboro kept its charter, it would be the second oldest African-American city in the United States.
These aren't just pictures of the past.
Goldsboro was a first stop if you were going down south with celery or cabbages or orange.
This wall reflects what it means to be in Goldsboro.
This was Miss Wynn's flower shop.
Kenneth Bentley grew up here.
Where we're standing now was when you enter Goldsboro and you had businesses on both sides of the street. I've seen Goldsboro at its highest peak.
What about today?
Today, just need a shot in the arm. We need a shot in the arm to revitalize.
Is this where the city can come in and really make a change?
Absolutely.
Brady Lassard is Sanford's Director of Economic Development and the mind behind a new funding model to bring this historic community into the future.
This is a program where we are going to reinvest tax dollars from this community directly into this community under the guidance of a group here in town called Main Street Goldsboro.
He calls it a CRA hybrid. Even if you don't know what a community redevelopment agency is, you've seen what it can do in places like downtown Sanford. Just by driving through, you can see the difference. While one area is thriving, the other looks left behind.
It's fallen into a little bit of disrepair. This program will allow that relaunch of a once vibrant community, and we're hoping to see very, very rapid results.
Do you think you found the right fit for Goldsboro?
I do. We've discussed is everything from celebrating the culture, the music of Goldsboro, to the art of Goldsboro.
We need to make sure that we get the alternative CRA plan here in Goldsboro so we can survive.
This is survival for Goldsboro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have to have this. If you build it, they'll come. You give us that shot in the arm, they're going to come. They go to the villages. They go to historic downtown Sanford. Guess what? They're coming to Goldsboro.
In Sanford, Catherine Silver, News 6.
Now, the president wants to send National Guard troops to Chicago. Homeland Security announced federal immigration agents are launching an operation there and in other parts of the state of Illinois. They say they are targeting immigrants living in the U.S. illegally who also have criminal records. It's dubbed Operation Midway Blitz.
We'd love to go into Chicago and straighten it out.
It comes as the Supreme Court temporarily lifted restrictions on immigration-related stops in Southern California, making it possible to stop people without reasonable suspicion they are here illegally.
A heads up, there could be a launch tonight from the Space Coast. SpaceX is sending up a communications satellite for Indonesia. Right now, the launch window opens at 8:02 and is open for just under 2 hours. If the launch happens, you can watch it live on clickorlando.com. Now to a concerning trend here in Central Florida.
In the last 3 years, my rent has doubled in price.
Apartment rents in Florida have surged nearly 40% since 2019. How that is fueling a rise in homelessness. That's next.
And we're seeing what a local bagel shop is doing to expand its business during a time of high economic uncertainty.
We're pinpointing a couple of rock and thunderstorms out there, especially in parts of Lake County, back into western Orange County, also Brevard and Osceola. We'll talk about where these are headed and pinpoint a pretty unsettled week ahead at about 4:47.
And before we head to break, we want to remind you to check out our prime time schedule on News 6 Plus. We have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. Then go in depth as we track the tropics and answer all of your weather questions at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. Download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
I'm Angie Casada in Orlando, and a new study from the University of Florida shows some stark numbers when it comes to housing in Central Florida, especially here in Orlando. It's showing that homelessness among families has jumped nearly 30% in the last 3 years. Rent for apartments in Florida have surged nearly 40% since 2019. That spike, according to a study from the University of Florida, combined with the state's rapid population growth, is fueling a rise in homelessness.
In the last 3 years, my rent has doubled in price.
We spoke to several local renters who called the price hike overwhelming.
Mine has probably gone up probably 100, 200 in the last few months.
How does that make you feel?
Like
The study shows nearly 1 million Florida renters earn less than 60% of the median income, yet spend more than 40% of their paycheck on housing. In the Orlando metro, the average two-bedroom now costs about $1,800, roughly $500 more than what low-income families can realistically afford. And here in Central Florida, the shortage is hitting hard. The study shows Orlando is short of more than 80,000 affordable units, leaving thousands of families struggling to stay housed.
And the only option that you have is either get 2 jobs to pay for your rent or live with 3 or 4 people more, which you see it all the time. Where I live, I know people that have like 4 roommates, even though it's only 2 in the lease agreement.
Wow.
And
between 2019 and 2023, the state added 240,000 new apartments, but researchers say it wasn't enough to meet the demand from 1 million new households moving in. And as rents rise faster than paychecks, more Florida families are being pushed to the brink. Experts say the gap between what families can afford and what the market demands will only widen unless new solutions are put in place. Reporting in Orlando, I'm Angie Casada, News 6.
It's crazy when you hear how much it's gone up in just the past few years.
It's
Yeah.
like in the blink of an eye, yeah.
All right,
Absolutely.
meteorologist Jonathan Kagas standing by, tracking a lot of rain this afternoon.
Yeah, we're going to continue that theme over the next couple of days, guys, getting ourselves into a pretty unsettled pattern. Right now, a ton of lightning filling up central Lake County, now bleeding back into Sumter County as well. Been watching this downpour for our friends in Brevard County as well. You can always track these storms alongside me tonight. Download that free News 6 weather app, one of the best tools, lightning detection. I'm going to push alert when we have those storms about 10 miles away, or at least the lightning strike from about 10 miles away. But watching the cell in Brevard kind of losing some of its grip. We certainly still have some heavier rain around Deer Park, some lightning strikes as well. I'll turn on the radar loop for you so you can see exactly where this thing is headed and zoom back out. And you see just going to likely miss Melbourne, Satellite Beach, outflow boundary here. You see that green arrow, the green line there? That's the radar picking up some dust particles as the rain-cooled air, the outflow as we call it, slides away from that cell. So would not be surprised if we have more storms try to fire up around Kissimmee, St. Cloud, Point Siena, and then slide back to the north and west. We'll be watching that. It's humid enough for that to happen. We also have a nice beefy thunderstorm getting going just around the airport, just to the south and east of the airport. There's downtown Orlando. You see the big cell here sliding back down toward the south and east, closer to Hunters Creek eventually. Asatula, we still have the very heavy rainfall over us. All of this is slowly pushing from west to east. Same for us back into Sumter County, around Bushnell, Nobleton. We have the really heavy stuff coming down. And this is going to be a theme, I think, for the next several hours. Eventually, we'll wind things down a little bit. That would be the cell that the Skycam, our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam, is looking at. That was just to the south and east of the airport tonight. Really dark clouds out there. That is a live look in downtown Orlando, again, with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam. The airport is reporting that thunderstorm, the breeze out of the north at about 17 miles an hour. Again, that rain-cooled air getting out ahead of that cell, pushing back to the west. Now, for the rest of the evening, again, watching that flare up south and to the west of Orlando. Likely, again, those colliding sea breeze along with the outflow boundaries out there help to force up a bunch of junk. There's 9 o'clock tonight. Likely still tracking some thunderstorms this evening. And then once we get into tomorrow, that's 8 o'clock in the morning, likely going to get an early start with these things. That's 2 o'clock with scattered thunderstorms around, and then we'll keep things rolling again for the bulk of the afternoon into the evening. Now here's a look at tomorrow.
Your forecast is sponsored by Ramjack.
Rain chances tomorrow up to 80%. High temperatures a little cooler, mid to upper 80s, but it's still going to be very humid. We are under the influence of a super juicy air mass. You can feel that when you step outside. Claremont, Mineola for tomorrow. Again, just a stray shower early on in the morning. Then I think we're drying through about 9, 10 o'clock, and then we'll see those increasing rain chances again spike before lunchtime, and then really increase for us after lunch. Once we get rid of this unsettled pattern, there's a shot that we do get some cooler air in here. Relatively speaking, you see the outlook here from the 14th to the 18th. We have a little shade of blue. It's been a while since that happened. I think we'll get some drier in here, at least for the weekend, to help the humidity go down for the first time really in the last few months. No new development expected in the tropics either over the next 7 days. So good news all around beyond this unsettled pattern. 70% shot for storms tomorrow, 60% chance on Thursday, and there's some of that drier air, guys, over the weekend.
Jonathan, thank you. Open your camera app, scan the QR code on your screen right now, and click that link. We want to see your weather pictures and videos. They could end up on TV. You can also go to clickorlando.com/pins and upload your pictures and videos that way.
Well, we've seen a lot of longtime businesses close lately, but one local bagel shop is doing the opposite. It's expanding.
It takes a little bit of an appetite for risk. Like, you have to be willing to put yourself out there.
We'll share their recipe for success and the ingredients that keep them going. That's next. As we take a live look at Mount Dora, you're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
Coming up in the morning, the race for Orange County Mayor getting more crowded.
The latest candidate to kick off their campaign and what voters can expect with more than a year to go until Election Day.
Plus, we are staying on the soggy side. Candace will have your updated forecast every 10 minutes.
We'll see you for News 6 Mornings starting at 6. I'm News 6's Emily McLeod. We're here at Central Florida's beloved bagel shop, Jeff's Bagels Run, in one of their newest locations, Apopka. In fact, the company is already at 21 locations with even more on the way. So we wanted to come by and ask them what's their recipe to success. And it turns out it's a few things, including consistency, the people, and the product.
I'm a native New Yorker, so bagels runs in my blood, so.
Okay, native New Yorker. So does Jeff's pass the test?
Absolutely, it's very good.
This location has only been open for a few weeks, but you would think it's been there for years with the number of people I saw leaving with bags and sometimes boxes of bagels. We just saw somebody come out with a box of bagels, not just one or two, a box of bagels. How does that make you feel?
It's heartwarming. You know, it's emotional knowing that we're creating something that people enjoy.
Jeff Pereira is the co-founder of Jeff's Bagel Run. He says their success comes down to a few things.
Cinnamon sugar with strawberry cream cheese.
The product.
How are you this morning?
And the people.
You're gonna love us.
We make a fresh baked product every day. Scratch dough, in-house, baking it hot, almost to order for you. And then our teams. I mean, our teams are the ones who every day come in, create community in the store, remember your name, remember your order, and I think that builds a ton of trust with the community and makes you want to come back.
The bagel empire started in their kitchen, and now they have locations across the country. A recent survey by the Orlando Economic Partnership listed political uncertainty, economic uncertainty, and cost pressures as the top 3 challenges businesses were facing in Q2 of this year. So we asked,
what's your advice to somebody who's an aspiring entrepreneur like yourself?
I tell people this all the time. It's the same answer. Just keep going.
Not giving up. And there's one other ingredient that the Jeff behind Jeff's Bagel Run recommends.
It takes a little bit of an appetite for risk. Like, you have to be willing to put yourself out there.
And right now, taking a risk tastes pretty good. In a Popgot, Emily McLeod, News 6.
Those are some good bagels.
Yeah, no risk it, no biscuit, or bagel. Yeah, News 6 at 5 is next.
Anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
We're following a pair of developing stories in Orange County, the controversial case the state attorney general is getting involved in, and the next step to memorializing the victims of the Pulse nightclub shooting. Plus, are Florida's vaccine mandates going to apply to rules for four-legged residents too? What eliminating vaccine mandates for animals would mean to humans. Your forecast is only minutes away. Here's a live look at the 417 near Belle Isle. You can barely see anything out there. Don't forget, you can stream all of our newscasts for free anytime on News 6 Plus. Your meteorologist will have a look at that forecast as soon as we get back. Now at 5, questions surrounding Florida's push to end vaccine mandates. Could it apply to your pets too?
I could not believe that they would do such a thing for an established recreational facility such as this.
Plus, the back and forth over a sporting facility likely headed to court. And later, it's all everyone is talking about online this weekend after a woman takes a home run baseball from a little boy's glove in Florida. Hear from the family about that viral incident. You're watching News 6 at 5.
First, though, at 5, storms popping up across Central Florida.
Here is a live look at 417 in Seminole County. It looks messy out there. Let's get you over to meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. Jonathan?
Yeah, guys, we're watching a lot of storms out there tonight, as you can see clearly there. The rain is coming out heavy. We'll take it closer into the 417, and you see all the rain there. It is getting much lighter, relatively speaking, to where it was about 30 minutes to an hour ago. Part of that cell now sliding into East Orange County. This is just east of the airport, and you see the very, very heavy rainfall continuing to slide down. Again, watching this closely in St. Cloud. We're dry right now, but the motion of this is to bring that all straight down. So we'll be watching that to see if that motion continues. Back to the west, still some very heavy rain. It's pretty much just parked on us. This is the situation, again, you can get ourselves into, especially with how much moisture there is in the atmosphere for some of that minor flooding. So again, been watching this closely for you guys in Asatula, Mineola, Montverde. We've been on the southern end of that, so we've been on the drier side. And then also this newly developed thunderstorm as things are building from the east to the west, but the motion is from the west to the east tonight. Webster and Center Hill, that very heavy rainfall continuing. I've got my eye on all of this. We'll talk about the rest of the evening and more unsettled weather to come for the next several days at about 5:17, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, it's yet another battle brewing between state officials and the Orange Osceola County State Attorney's Office.
Florida Attorney General James Uthmeier says Worrell's office is getting a deadly road rage case wrong. You may remember this shooting near the Target on Colonial Drive in Orlando around last Christmas. Tina Algio is accused of shooting and killing Mikhail Svetkov. She claims she was standing her ground, acting in self-defense after a road rage incident had escalated. Monique Worrell's office disagreed and filed charges, but the state attorney general said it should have been thrown out due to self-defense. In a court hearing earlier this year, we saw surveillance video appearing to show Svetkov opening Algio's car door. Algio and her defense team claim Svetkov then punched her several times before she grabbed her gun, which she owned lawfully, and shot Svetkov. Prosecutors say Algio instigated the incident when she hit his car, which Algio says was an accident. News 6's Mike Valenti spoke with Algio's attorney, who said he had mixed feelings about the state attorney general getting involved in this case. Hear what else he had to say ahead at 6.
Orlando city leaders voted to move forward with funding for a permanent Pulse memorial to honor the 49 lives lost during the Pulse mass shooting in 2016. This funding plan is an agreement between Orange County and the city of Orlando. Orange County has pledged $5 million and the city committing $7 million, making a grand total of $12 million over 3-year payments. Gomez Construction Company will be the construction firm that will design and build the memorial. Construction is expected to begin in 2026 with hopes of it wrapping up by 2027.
We are continuing to ask questions about the state's unexpected announcement that Florida will begin the process of phasing out vaccine mandates. In 90 days, mandates for several vaccines, including hepatitis B, chickenpox, and meningitis, are expected to end. Mandates for other shots, including measles, polio, diphtheria, pertussis, and mumps, would have to be lifted by the state legislature, as public health officials across the country have continued to voice their concerns about the move to eliminate mandates. The governor doubled down on the need for parental choice today.
Parents are provided information. They're not being coerced. They're doing it. And I think when given accurate information, I think they're going to do what's best for their kids. I mean, everyone wants their kids to grow up to be healthy.
Lawmakers meet again in early January. That's when they could decide to lift the mandate for other vaccines like measles and polio. But an interesting wrinkle in this vaccine mandate discussion is if the state will get rid of all the mandates, as state leaders pledged to do so last week.
The state mandates vaccines for not just people, but also pets. In a one-on-one interview with Florida's Lieutenant Governor, News 6's Laverne McGee asked if all vaccine mandates will be repealed, even for those things like rabies.
For many people, dogs and cats are family members. But now Florida's Surgeon General says vaccines should not be mandatory for kids, saying parents know best. So what about people who consider their pets their children? According to Florida law, all dogs, cats, and ferrets 4 months of age or older must be vaccinated by a licensed veterinarian or a person authorized against rabies with a vaccine that is licensed by the United States Department of Agriculture for use in those species. We spoke with veterinarian Dr. Aaron Lindblad, owner of Garden Veterinary Clinic, about why the rabies vaccine doesn't just protect pets, but people too.
I would say the most important thing is that's what we call a zoonotic disease, meaning that it can be transferred from animals to humans. So it is a human health hazard. So it's very important because people can get the disease, but also the disease is fatal. There really isn't a cure or treatment for rabies. Once they've been infected with the virus, it is fatal.
So does the vaccine prevent you from dying from rabies?
Yes.
Vaccinate your pets for rabies.
The Florida Department of Health also has this rabies prevention video on its website. It warns the rabies virus is very deadly, with nearly 100% fatal illness in humans and other mammals. I asked Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins, who has just been appointed to Florida's new Make America Healthy Again Commission, about vaccinations for pets.
There's a law that says their dogs and cats have to have rabies shots. Is that something that you would look at?
Well, I think it's outside the scope of what we're talking about, but if people want to have that conversation, I would invite them into my office.
Collins didn't rule out repealing the rabies mandate, which for now remains in effect, with vets calling the vaccine life-saving.
I have no concerns when it comes to the vaccine. It's a vaccine that's been around for years. And, you know, I think anytime you're looking at a vaccine, you have to look at the risk versus the benefit. But in this situation, I do feel like the risk is pretty high to not vaccinate your pet from rabies.
On Wednesday, Orange County Animal Services will be giving free vaccinations to cats from 8 a.m. to noon at the shelter on Conroy Road. In Orlando, your community correspondent Laverne McGee, News 6.
Tonight, we are learning new details about 2 Central Florida students facing charges after bringing guns to school.
News 6 anchor Ginger Gadsden has the details about both of these cases. Ginger.
Matt and Lisa, we begin with a case from this morning that has a young child in serious trouble today with the law. Ocala police officers were called to College Park Elementary School this morning after students on the bus saw a 4th grader on that bus with a gun and then told the driver about it. Officers boarded the bus and were led in the direction of a 9-year-old who had this loaded revolver near his seat. Detectives learned it was taken without permission from a relative's secured bedroom. The child said he took the gun to the day before and simply had it to show to other students, but claimed he didn't mean to hurt anyone. The boy was detained and taken to the Department of Juvenile Justice. He's facing multiple charges, including possession of a firearm on school property, carrying a concealed firearm, armed burglary, grand theft of a firearm, and more. Ocala police say because the boy is just 9 years old, they are not identifying him. Meanwhile, the Flagler County Sheriff's Office says a student at Flagler Palm Coast High School went up to the school resource deputy saying another student pointed a gun at them in the bathroom of the McDonald's in the Palm Coast Town Center. Now, officials say Sean Goska Jr. was hanging out with the victim and other students after school, but they thought he had the gun at school. He first told deputies he was at the McDonald's but didn't have a gun, but deputies learned he posted a video of the incident to social media, then deleted it. Then, when they brought it up to Goska, he told deputies the gun was in his bedroom, which they say was found loaded. He told investigators he did point the gun at the other student and took the gun to school, but said he was just playing around. Goska was arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill, possession of a firearm on school property, and possession of a firearm by a minor. Now, both the Ocala Police Department and Flagler County Sheriff's Office credited students who reported the incidents to law enforcement to keep students safe in school and, of course, on the bus. Lisa?
Ginger, thank you. As we take a live look at our City of Mount Dora, Cam, a lot of people love visiting this little slice of Lake County, but not when it comes to parking there. That has been an issue that's been frustrating drivers for years. But today, the city is expected to begin the process of finding a solution. Lake County community correspondent Mark Lehman is looking at the options on the table to make things easier the next time you visit Mount Dora.
There are a few different proposals that will be discussed during today's parking workshop, one of which is downtown paid parking here, which may get some pushback, and the hope is that will free up some of the most in-demand spaces and also pay to shuttle in people who park further away.
What's the parking situation like on the weekends?
Horrible. Bob Wade has lived in Mount Dora for nearly 3 decades, but he says in the last few years, driving downtown on busy days just hasn't been worth the hassle.
I don't come down on weekends simply because I don't want to have to walk a mile to get to downtown.
That mindset is why the city is working to find solutions to its parking problems.
See what works and what doesn't work, and we can go from there.
Mayor James Homich is holding a workshop Monday evening to review and gather community feedback on options to improve downtown parking. Among the proposals are reconfiguring spaces and converting 3 streets to one-way,
so that we could put in additional parking and still expand the accessibility for the emergency vehicles and the cars.
Another option is converting some spaces to paid parking. It would discourage residents from occupying those all day, and the money would be used to fund the freebie shuttle service that was launched last year. Homich says the options are limited because of Mount Dora's historic status, but everyone's goal remains the same.
Try to alleviate some of the problems and make it more convenient for people visiting the downtown.
Now, the mayor says the city is also working to raise awareness about what lots are available and offer free parking. All of this will be discussed during tonight's workshop, which gets underway at 6 p.m. at Mount Dora City Hall. I'm your Lake County community correspondent, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Well, a sporting club in the community it calls home are gearing up for a big fight. And this time it may be in the courtroom. Next at 5, why some say it never should have gotten to this point. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back.
Today's Port Canaveral Cam is sponsored by Launch Credit Union.
Lake County community correspondent Emily McLeod has been following a brewing battle over a shuffleboard court for 2 weeks now.
The Leesburg Shuffleboard Club has now officially filed a lawsuit against the city after the commission voted in favor of donating that property to a local nonprofit. Emily is digging into the lawsuit and why the club's members say this shouldn't have happened in the first place.
We first told you about the controversy over the Leesburg Shuffleboard Club back in August. Members told me if the city moved forward with the donation of the property to the nonprofit Forward Paths, the club would file a lawsuit. Well, the city approved that donation, and now the club has officially filed a lawsuit against the city of Leesburg.
Ahead of the August vote to donate the property where the Leesburg Shuffleboard Club is located to Forward Paths, I spoke to Rick Tallman. He's a member of the club.
I could not believe that they would do such a thing for an established recreational facility such as this.
The city owns the property and voted 4-1 to donate it to the nonprofit. Ahead of the meeting, the attorney representing the club, Anthony Sabatini, sent a letter to the city requesting it postpone the vote and alleged the city was in violation of its own charter. But the vote went forward and the donation was approved. Since then, the club has filed a lawsuit, echoing some of the same concerns spelled out in the initial letter sent to the city. The complaint alleges the city charter requires that any sale, conveyance, or transfer of a city activity requires referendum approval by 2/3 of the electorate. It also says because the public park constitutes a city-recognized recreational activity, the city may not transfer the property or end shuffleboard activity without getting voter approval via a referendum.
The Leesburg Shuffleboard Club is set to close on Friday, November 7th at 4:30 p.m., though its members tell me they are still able to hold the tournaments they already have scheduled at the club. If we get any more details on this story, we'll be sure to bring them to you on clickorlando.com. I'm your Lake County community correspondent, Emily McLeod, News 6.
We have reached out to the city of Leesburg for a comment on this lawsuit. We are still waiting to hear back.
All right, we want to bring in meteorologist Jonathan Kagas now because it has been a very active, soggy afternoon and really not what we need in a lot of places right now.
Right, yeah, we've had a lot of rain over the past couple of days in spots. It's certainly not everywhere, but we're going to increase rain chances over the next couple of days, and it's going to be the heavy variety like we've seen out there last night on Saturday and then again today. We'll put this back into motion. We have storms firing up in a few spots tonight. Good news is nothing severe, but they're not moving much, and it is causing some minor flooding issues, at least concerns going through the evening, especially if we don't get these out of here soon. Asatullah, I'm especially looking at you because I've been over you guys for about the last hour or so, and this storm finally starting to peter out a little bit, but it's still raining at a pretty good clip. Webster and at Bushnell, where you are still watching that storm pretty much solely over Webster now, but a few of those downpours every now and then try to push back to the west of us into Bushnell. Watching this storm here, this has been east of the Orlando International Airport. It's drifting slowly to the south into the east. We have a couple of showers trying to push back towards Lake Toho, likely going to watch more development in between St. Cloud and where we have the storm now in East Orange County, doing okay in Port St. John and Titusville tonight. But you see watching a little more of a flare up there just to the east of us in Bithlo. Then also some extra heavy rain now for us in Ponce Inlet, Port Orange, where we do not need any more of that rain again after last night. New Smyrna, we're also getting the downpours, a couple of lightning strikes embedded in that as well. With the heavy rain in Seminole County today, a flood warning has been issued. This is for the river now, Little Wekiva River near Altamont Springs. Just keep an eye on this one. The current reading right now on the river is 27.8. That flood warning has been issued because it's expected to get to 28.8 feet. That's going to be just barely above minor flood stage. So if you're along the river and you have the history, again, you know what that means when you get into minor flood stage. Again, just some minor flooding expected near the river at Altamont Springs. So just wanted to pass that along. Again, that flood warning just coming across. You may have gotten that alert on your phone. There's 7 to 8 o'clock tonight. Most of the storms that we have out there now are going to push southwest of the Florida Turnpike from the Villages to Kissimmee and then back to the west. Then we're going to do it all again tomorrow, and you notice that steady stream of thunderstorms still is trying to push on shore. Likely for the rest of the evening, going to be dealing with those thunderstorms, at least some downpours closer to the coast. 1 o'clock tomorrow, I think we're going to start firing things up, and then look at the widespread nature of these storms tomorrow. This is 4 o'clock, and we are really filling things in through the evening. You see the high concentration of those. So the potential for some more minor flooding and even a couple of rowdy thunderstorms in the mix are going to be possible. Still hanging on to some rain by 11 o'clock at night as we keep that front pretty much draped over Florida. That's adding that extra fuel to these thunderstorms. There's Port Canaveral live look with our Launch Credit Union camera tonight. Temperatures getting back into the mid 80s under a mainly clear sky. We're hanging around 80 right now in Orlando, 78 in DeLand. Now here's a look at tomorrow.
Your forecast is sponsored by Payne Law.
We're back to the mid to upper 80s. Rain chances at 80% tomorrow, 70% on Wednesday. A little bit better for the weekend. I think we even have the shot to get on some lower humidity for the first time in months over the weekend, guys.
That'll be nice, Jonathan. Thank you. After the break, how you can help support one of Orlando's bravest entering a new kind of fight.
Your Monday evening traffic alert. You're going to see the same stuff we see all the time, except a bigger closure on I-4. First, Turnpike. You'll see some minor lane closures north and southbound down in Osceola County, so south of probably around US 192 towards Kissimmee Park. Then we'll see a westbound closure of I-4 starting right around the Florida Turnpike Kirkman area. Everyone gets off at Kirkman. Follow the detour just because there's a lot of construction currently taking place I-4 Sand Lake area. And then minor lane closures on the south end of State Road 429 in Osceola County. I'm Trooper Steve with the News 6 Traffic Alert. Drive safely. I'll catch you in the morning.
Here's a live look at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. No rain in downtown, but you can see behind it a little gray. We'll be right back. Right now, Orlando firefighters are asking for your help to support their beloved crewmate who is in the hospital after doctors diagnosed him with cancer.
Yeah, they are raising money, not just for his treatment, but for his family, including his new baby girl. News 6's Darrell Baker spoke with him from the hospital.
I never once thought like, oh man, I get cancer, But like you say, sometimes you just never think it'll be you. Orlando firefighter Juwan Van Buren has been in the hospital since Tuesday after masses and swollen lymph nodes in his right lung discovered in July spread to his left lung. Firefighter Justin Glass says Van Buren's condition started off as a minor cough.
Started as something simple that we had just noticed around the station throughout the night, a cough that steadily progressed and got worsened. And so it was kind of a team effort to implore him to go and seek some medical care.
There is a state firefighter cancer claim benefit, which gives firefighters with certain cancers $25,000 at diagnosis, but Van Buren hasn't worked at Station 9 long enough to get it.
Some people, you can get this your first year on the job, and if it hasn't been 5 years, it's kind of like, you're in the weeds. So I think it's something that definitely needs to be changed.
Instead, his Orlando Firehouse 9 crew is raising money to help the former Coast Guard member pay for treatment and to support his family, including his baby girl who was born just after he was diagnosed in July. Van Buren Station also donated around $5,000 of its own money.
His situation, it could be any of us. It can happen to any of our coworkers at any time. Many of us have children of our own, so it's something that we can all see ourselves in his shoes.
Van Buren is approved to get paid while he's away from work until October. Then he'll have to reapply, hopefully to continue that coverage. In Orlando, Jarrell Baker, News 6.
Now, if you are interested in helping out, we have put a link to donate to a fundraiser for him in this article at clickorlando.com. Just click on the local news section under the news tab, then scroll to Orange County.
Well, Central Florida's landscape is always changing, and in some historic communities, it creates unique challenges. How one neighborhood is looking to move itself into the future. Coming up.
You're here with your boss having a party with 200 kids who are drinking.
It is a story that's hard to forget. What a teacher who was caught on camera partying with her students is now trying to get out of.
And in a weekend with a college football and NFL action, slate of beauty, a baseball story dominates the internet. Hear from the family at the heart of this viral moment. Here's a live look at Daytona Beach. You're watching News 6. Keep it here. We'll be right back.
Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We are following several top stories for you right now. State Attorney General James Uthmeier asking Orange Osceola State Attorney Monique Worrell to reconsider a case. Tina Algeo is accused of shooting a man during a road rage incident. She claims stand your ground. The Attorney General agrees, says the case should be thrown out. Worrell's office says Algeo instigated the incident when she hit his car, which Algeo says was an accident. Our Mike Valenti spoke with Algeo's attorney, who said he has mixed feelings about the AG getting involved. You'll hear from him coming up at 6.
The city of Orlando has approved funding for a permanent Pulse Memorial. The city will pay $7 million over 3 years. Orange County has pledged $5 million. Construction is expected to begin next year. As state leaders iron out rules to end all vaccine mandates, it's not clear if that will include rules for animals as well, including the required rabies vaccine. We asked Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins, who is on Florida's new Make America Healthy Again Commission, tasked with looking at vaccine rules. The lieutenant governor says that is outside the scope of the state's current vaccine plans, but he is willing to discuss it.
Well, partying with students, a Brevard County teacher who was caught on camera at a rowdy party is headed back to court. Brevard County community correspondent James Sparvero was all over this story when it first happened. And as he found out, the former teacher is asking for her sentence to be reduced.
She may have lost her job, but former Cocoa Beach Elementary School teacher Carly Anderson didn't go to jail following her trial after this party with teenagers.
You're here with your boss having a party with 200 kids who are drinking.
While Anderson's friend, former Roosevelt Elementary principal Elizabeth Hill Brodigan, is still awaiting a trial date for the party at her house, Anderson's going back to court hoping to get off probation just 4 months into a 1-year sentence. Like in January, I went to Anderson's house again, hoping to ask her questions, but when someone else answered the door, they told me she didn't want to talk. Are you Carly? I'm looking for Carly Anderson, just like the first time I asked. Carly, I just wanted to talk to you about the party, and if you wanted to give your side of the story, this would be your opportunity. More new court documents since her conviction tell us Anderson's also trying to overturn making a $500 donation to the Children's Advocacy Center. The party may have involved minors, but this motion reads Anderson's resisting and disorderly convictions do not.
She just overreacted when she got in front of the ambulance. And it's none of my business.
This grandparent at Roosevelt told me she thinks Anderson should serve her sentence in its entirety.
She should be on probation, yeah. I think it just got really blown out of proportion, but rightly so, they lost their jobs.
Anderson's due back in court on the 24th. In addition to fighting probation, she's also appealing her conviction. There's no trial set yet for the former principal. In Cocoa Beach, Brevard County, I'm your community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
Well, a federal lawsuit is on the way for Jacksonville Sheriff's Office officer and the city following a traffic stop that went viral and prompted outrage and investigations. William McNeil Jr. was the subject of that stop earlier this year. It led to an investigation and calls for drivers to consider protecting themselves by placing a camera in their vehicle. McNeil's attorneys filing the lawsuit, saying the officer, DJ Bowers, used 2 instances of physical force during that arrest. His attorneys say McNeil wasn't posing any threat to others or showing resistance when it all happened.
Well, cities across Central Florida that have seen and felt change often face the same challenge, how to revitalize their communities.
Sanford community correspondent Catherine Silver explores what could be the answer for historic Goldsboro in the heart of Sanford.
If Goldsboro kept its charter, it would be the second oldest African-American city in the United States.
These aren't just pictures of the past.
Goldsboro was a first stop if you were going down south with celery or cabbages.
This wall reflects what it means to be in Goldsboro.
This was Miss Wynn's flower shop.
Kenneth Bentley grew up here.
Where we're standing now was when you enter Goldsboro and you had businesses on both sides of the street. I've seen Goldsboro at its highest peak.
What about today?
Today, just need a shot in the arm. We need a shot in the arm to revitalize.
Is this where the city can come in and really make a change?
Absolutely.
Brady Lassard is Sanford's Director of Economic Development and the mind behind a new funding model to bring this historic community into the future.
This is a program where we are going to reinvest tax dollars from this community directly into this community under the guidance of a group here in town called Main Street Goldsboro.
He calls it a CRA hybrid. Even if you don't know what a community redevelopment agency is, you've seen what it can do in places like downtown Sanford. Just by driving through, you can see the difference. While one area is thriving, the other looks left behind.
It's fallen into a little bit of disrepair. This program will allow that relaunch of a once vibrant community, and we're hoping to see very, very rapid results.
Do you think you found the right fit for Goldsboro?
I do. What we've discussed is everything from celebrating the culture, the music of Goldsboro, to the art of Goldsboro.
We need to make sure that we get the alternative CRA plan here in Goldsboro so we can survive.
This is survival for Goldsboro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have to have this. If you build it, they'll come. You give us that shot in the arm, they're going to come. They go to the villages. They go to historic downtown Sanford. Guess what? They're coming to Goldsboro.
In Sanford, Catherine Silver, News 6.
Orange County employees had to report to state regulators today as officials put spending under the microscope, according to investigative subpoenas sent from the state chief financial officer's office to the county attorney. He, along with 15 others who were subpoenaed, had until 9 a.m. to comply. The state's DOGE team wants all records and emails related to both diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as climate. Last month, the CFO said when state auditors showed up in early August, emails related to several DEI-related grants were missing.
It's pretty obvious to me, as just an opinion, that some of the information was scrubbed.
I am hopeful that this is a misunderstanding and is not true, because it would really shed a very bad light on Orange County.
The state also wants to look into a number of groups, including the Black History Project, Central Florida Urban League, Orlando Youth Alliance, the Zebra Coalition, and more. Orange County told News 6 organizations receive about $35,100 annually, but some contracts have already expired and those groups no longer receive funding. The state has not said how long their investigation will take. An arrest warrant issued for this woman right here, Allison Lawrence, after the sheriff's office says Lawrence failed to appear at a court hearing. Lawrence is facing multiple criminal charges, accused of drowning her dog in an an airport bathroom. After being unable to board with the animal back in December, the dog was later found dead in a trash bag, and an airport employee saw that. They reported the incident to their supervisor. Lawrence originally bonded out of jail, but now will be faced with heading back. We'll keep you updated on exactly what happens on our website, clickorlando.com. A bartender facing charges after police say he stabbed a customer following a heated argument there. It happened on Sunday, August 31st at Grump's Underground Bar on Mills Avenue in Orlando. Police arrested 30-year-old Jason Rosario on Friday. Officers say Rosario and the victim argued over a drink bill the victim claimed was incorrect. They went outside, started fighting, where eventually Rosario stabbed the victim 10 times in the head and back. Rosario is being held without bond tonight.
Officials in Wildwood have a warning for people headed to the gas pump. They say a skimmer has been found. It was reported last week at the 7-Eleven on Country Road 462 and US 301. The skimmer, discovered by an employee, looks like a card reader, but steals credit card information for criminals. The Wildwood police chief suggests paying with cash or paying inside the store.
As Central Florida continues to boom in population, new numbers paint a stark picture of housing in Central Florida. So a new study has found homelessness among families jumped nearly 30% in the last 3 years. News 6's Angie Casada shows us what's driving the crisis and why many local families just can't keep up.
Rent for apartments in Florida have surged nearly 40% since 2019. That spike, according to a study from the University of Florida, combined with the state's rapid population growth, is fueling a rise in homelessness.
In the last 3 years, my rent has doubled in price.
We spoke to several local renters who called the price hike overwhelming.
Mine has probably gone up probably 100, 200 in the last few months.
How does that make you feel?
Like
The study shows nearly 1 million Florida renters earn less than 60% of the median income, yet spend more than 40% of their paycheck on housing. In the Orlando metro, the average two-bedroom now costs about $1,800, roughly $500 more than what low-income families can realistically afford.
And here in Central Florida, the shortage is hitting hard. The study shows Orlando is short of more than 80,000 affordable units, leaving thousands of families struggling to stay housed.
And the only option that you have is either get two jobs to pay for your rent or live with 3 or 4 people more, which you see it all the time. Where I live, I know people that have like 4 roommates, even though it's only 2 in the lease agreement.
Wow.
And
between 2019 and 2023, the state added 240,000 new apartments, but researchers say it wasn't enough to meet the demand from 1 million new households moving in. And as rents rise faster than paychecks, more Florida families are being pushed to the brink.
Experts say the gap between what families can afford and what the market demands will only widen unless new solutions are put in place. Reporting in Orlando, I'm Angie Casada, News 6.
Well, in a world that is so divided, one thing seems to bring people together online. Calling out people who take things away from kids at sporting events. Hear from the family at the center of this viral incident from over the weekend. Jonathan.
Yikes. We are pinpointing a couple of thunderstorms still out there. We're going to watch things fade over the next couple of hours. Bigger day tomorrow in terms of widespread thunderstorms. We'll have that forecast for you at about 5:47.
And take a break from those summer reruns. Try out the all-new primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. Ginger and I have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. Go in-depth as we track the tropics and answer weather questions with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas at 9:30. And then you can watch the late news an hour early. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. And download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also on Roku, Apple, and Fire. Baseball fans across the country are calling foul after a confrontation in the stands at a Phillies game in Miami.
A shouting match ended with a home run ball being taken away from a kid. Christian Benavides spoke to that young fan and his family about the whole incident.
Sometimes you need that reset.
And Bader just unloads on this one.
At first glance, there's nothing unusual here. A home run by Phillies outfielder Harrison Bader and fans converging to try to grab the ball. Philadelphia fan Andrew Feltwell comes up with the souvenir and hands it to his son Lincoln, the whole family there celebrating his 10th birthday.
To have the ball even come close to coming near us, the excitement of a maybe, and then to grab it, it was just like, you know, it kept stepping up higher and higher. And when I put that ball in his glove, I felt like I accomplished something great.
But that feeling was short-lived. Another fan storms over to demand the ball.
Give me a sense of that roller coaster of emotions.
The screaming and yelling is what killed it for me. You know, I would have loved to turn my back or pushed her away or something like that, but I just decided to make it end and give her the ball and be happy that she goes away. And
Feltwell says he snatched the ball a moment before anyone else. A fair play as it bounced around the seats at Miami's Lone Depot Park.
I'm kind of overwhelmed with all the fame.
Lincoln didn't leave empty-handed. The Marlins gave him a goodie bag of memorabilia. Some fans came over to give him their own balls, and after the game, Bader gave him a signed bat.
Really, really cool just even meeting him in person, but him giving me the bat, that was very, very nice of him.
To top it off, the Phillies won the Friday night game against the Marlins, 9-3. Christian Benavides, CBS News, West Palm Beach, Florida.
And that's not all they walked away with. Camping World CEO Marcus Lemonis saw what happened and said he's buying World Series tickets for the whole family and is sending them an RV as well.
That's the best thing that ever happened to this kid.
Yeah. It's worked out for them, yes.
I still can't believe Dad gave that home run ball back.
Yeah,
that's wild. Good.
I mean, it could have gotten ugly.
Yeah, okay.
Uglier.
It already got ugly.
Yeah.
So Dad Andrew says he won't defend the woman, but he doesn't want to have any part in attacking her. Lincoln says the entire saga has taught him how important it is to try to de-escalate the situation.
You would not have de-escalated.
I'm still learning that.
You would have escalated it.
No,
it's hard to take the
I wouldn't
ball
have
out of
taken
the
the
glove.
ball out of my kid's glove and handed it to the person.
She was being wild.
She wasn't. I don't think she was going to leave without that ball.
She would have had to figure it out.
Yeah. Temperatures, guys, still muggy out there, a little cooler, relatively speaking, because of the rain coming through. And we are still tracking those downpours and thunderstorms tonight. I do think we will see a fizzling out trend over the next couple of hours, but the rain that we have out there is heavy, and we will see more try to push back on shore. We have been watching this cell hanging around Asatula all evening. Now we do have a flood advisory. Talked about that about 15 minutes ago, and then just after we got off, a flood advisory was issued. The good news is we are watching some of these downpours wind down in around Asatula that have pushed closer to Tavares for us tonight. Also into Ellsworth Junction, some light rain. There we go into Asatula again as things have kind of pushed back towards the south and to the west of us. Further back up into the north and east, Deltona, good evening. We have those scattered downpours around, take it closer to Lake Catherine tonight with some of the heavier downpours around Mount Plymouth tonight into eastern Lake County. These are all moving, by the way. I'll turn the loop on to show you exactly where these things are headed. And again, they're just slowly meandering along. And that's part of the equation, too. When you have tropical moisture kind of stuck along a front that is stalled across central Florida, that's kind of leading to what we have going on here. Here is that front. It's a stationary front. It's going to be here for the next couple of days. There's also an area of low pressure tied to it. So especially once we get into tomorrow, the breeze out of the southwest is going to help to pump in even more Gulf moisture. That's going to help to get even more thunderstorms going as we go through the day tomorrow. Pinpointing that for you right here. Future Radar, I think, doing a nice job tonight by 7 to 8 o'clock. Most of that stuff kind of sagging closer to the Florida Turnpike from about Kissimmee to Point Siena, back through Nobleton, Bushnell, Lake Panasoffkee as well, into the south and to the west. Now watch what happens as we get into the overnight into tomorrow. A couple of those downpours still hang out. So overnight tonight, some of us may still have a few rumbles of thunder out there, scattered downpours in the mix. Once we get to tomorrow, I think we see things flare up even further. Here we go by lunchtime into the dinner hour. That's 5 o'clock with scattered thunderstorms all over the place. And that's 9 to 10 o'clock with more scattered storms around. So tomorrow, pretty active day. Now here's a look at the forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Publix.
Temperatures tomorrow back to the mid to upper 80s. Rain chances are sky high at 80%. Once we break free from this pattern, this unsettled, very soupy pattern, I think we may have our first cold front of the season. It's going to be close, but it looks like we might start to see that as we get to the weekend. Dew point temperatures characterize the humidity again more in the mid to upper 70s all summer long. The higher the number, the more humid it is. All the comfy air back to New Orleans, Jackson, Mississippi, Nashville, Tennessee. Some of that tries to trickle down the Florida Peninsula as we go from Friday into the weekend. Again, watch the 70s turn to 60s again as this first fall front of the season. Again, I don't think we're going to notice it by terms of temperature, but you will notice it by comfort by the time you wake up on Saturday and especially Sunday morning. So that's going to be the big change of pace that we have rolling over the next several days. After we get beyond this unsettled stretch, 80% shot for storms again tomorrow, 70% chance on Wednesday, and then storm chances go down. If that front does blast right on through, we will have those rain chances much lower than 30% over Saturday and Sunday, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Well, after the break, what we know about tonight's upcoming rocket launch.
Coming up in the morning, the race for Orange County mayor getting more crowded.
The latest candidate to kick off their campaign and what voters can expect with more than a year to go until Election Day.
Plus, we are staying on the soggy side. Candace will have your updated forecast every 10 minutes.
We'll see you for News 6 Morning starting at 6.
As we take a live look at downtown Orlando, you're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back.
So what happens when crews start work on some of the busiest roads in Central Florida? Headaches.
Heavy construction is on the way on I-4 westbound near the Turnpike, but it has not started just yet. Trooper Steve went on patrol to the area that will be impacted to see what you can expect.
There are even signs out here that say, look, nightly I-4 westbound closures beginning September 7th through the 12th, obviously this week. So this is the area that is shut down overnight. What would happen is you'd begin to approach this, you'd see the signs, you'd see the law enforcement presence. There are troopers staged out in the roadway, and then everyone gets pushed off here at mile marker 75. Now you can even see there are warning signs out here reminding daytime drivers, hey, watch out for the overnight closures.
Now, you can go back and watch the whole conversation in this article at clickorlando.com. Just click on the On Patrol section under the Traffic tab at the top of the page. And you can hit the road with Trooper Steve on patrol weekday mornings at 10, live on the new 6 Plus streaming app for your smart TV or clickorlando.com.
Well, you still have some time to head to the Space Coast to maybe catch a rocket launch tonight. SpaceX trying to launch the Nusantara Lima mission from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station tonight. It's an Indonesian telecommunications satellite aiming to deliver high-capacity connectivity for users across the country and others in the area. The nearly 2-hour launch window opens just after 8 o'clock tonight. If you head out to the Space Coast for the launch, we'd love to see any photos or videos you can take. You can upload them to Pin It page on clickorlando.com. You can also see everything you want from weather where you live, and breaking news when it happens. You can take out your phone and scan that QR code on your screen, share what you see, and you just might see it on TV.
Ginger Gadsden is in the newsroom with what we're working on for News 6 at 6.
Lisa and Matt, a road rage shooting in Orlando drawing the attention of the state. The case our state's top prosecutor wants local state attorney to reconsider, and why.
Usually when we talk about assessment fees skyrocketing, it's at condo associations. Not this time. It's here in the city for single-family homeowners for maintenance. This story coming up.
And a live look at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera.
there.
A close call for a deputy and her canine. We'll tell you what happened next. Plus, a gun found on a school bus headed for an elementary school. We'll tell you who is facing charges tonight. And
we've been telling you about Florida wanting to get rid of vaccines for children, but there's a law about vaccines for pets. Will they get rid of that too? Details ahead.
News 6 at 6 starts now. We begin tonight with the newest clash between State Attorney Monique Worrell and state leaders. This time, it's a deadly road rage shooting under her domain that has their attention.
Attorney General James Othmeyer took to social media today demanding that Worrell drop a murder charge against the woman who fired the gun.
Your Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti joins us now live outside the state attorney's office. And Mike, the attorney general is warning about further intervention here.
Yeah, Ginger, Matt, and the Attorney General claims that Monique Worrell's decision to prosecute likely constitutes a breach of her ethical obligations. Worrell, for her part, contends that the Attorney General is just playing partisan politics.
State Attorney Worrell, who historically has not prosecuted a lot of cases she should have, did so here in a case against a woman who justifiably engaged in self-defense, who justifiably stood her ground.
Attorney General James Othmeyer sending this letter Monday to State Attorney Monique Worrell, urging her to reconsider her decision to prosecute 48-year-old Tina Algeo, who in December of 2024 shot and killed Mikhail Tsetkov after a road rage incident escalated.
Most of the witnesses who we've talked to so far has said exactly what the video seems to support, which is that my client was in a car when she was attacked by the guy who opened the door and started beating on her, and I think that is an appropriate basis from which you can argue self-defense.
Mark O'Mara represented George Zimmerman in his criminal case, and now he's defending Tina Algeo, contending in a recently filed motion to dismiss that his client was justified in using force and thus should be immune from criminal prosecution, an argument that Othmeyer amplified in a video posted to his tens of thousands of followers on X Monday.
Under Florida law, she justifiably stood her ground and acted in self-defense.
Worrell argues that it was Algeo who instigated the whole incident after hitting Svetkov's car, an act that Algeo says was an accident and happened only after Svetkov hit hers. In a statement responding to the AG, Worrell called out Othmeyer's, quote, inexperience with criminal prosecution, saying it risks public safety and the credibility of the criminal legal system. She went on to say that the justification for invoking a stand your ground defense is a matter for judicial determination, not partisan politics.
What I don't want it to be is some sort of political football or something, or back and forth between two offices, Ms. Worrell's office and the Attorney General, who, you know, seem to be going at it a little bit, and I just don't want to be caught, or my client to be caught in the crosshairs.
So O'Mara says that while he appreciates the Attorney General's opinion, he'd rather fly under the radar here. But his client's case will be on a judge's radar on October 30th. That's for an evidentiary hearing when the issue of immunity from criminal prosecution will be broached. I'm your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
Mike, thank you. Well, after today's heavy rain, our meteorologists are monitoring a flood warning issued for the Little Wekiva River near Altamont.
Yeah, but meteorologist Jonathan Kagas, there is nothing major here to worry about, right?
Yeah, that's right. And that river's going to crest in the next couple of hours just above minor flood stage. So if you live along that river, just keep eyes to that. It should quickly recede as we get beyond the 8 o'clock hour. That was because of some heavier rain earlier. Now we're watching for those downpours again right along I-4 from about Orange City, Deltona, closer to Adrian Park and Brookertown as well. We're getting in on some of the really heavy stuff. Some lightning still hanging around. That cell has been with us for the last 40 minutes or so. Been tracking that one for you guys for a while. Asatula, we have a flood advisory because of all of the rain that fell earlier into the evening, now finally letting up over the last 30 minutes, give or take. But nonetheless, it is still raining lightly for us. All the heaviest stuff is now pushed west of Tavares, closer to us in Leesburg. We're trying to get that cell to nudge further north. Hawthorne, we are having that really heavy rain and thunderstorms with us right now. I have my eye on this. We'll talk about the rest of the evening, which should wind things down a little bit, but then ramping things back up again tomorrow. We'll break down that forecast at about 6:17.
Thank you, Jonathan. Now at 6, 2 students in one high school, one in elementary school, accused of bringing a gun onto school property. It happened in 2 separate school districts in Central Florida, but the message is the same. You will face consequences no matter your age. Let's begin in Marion County with the youngest to be arrested.
Yeah, a 9-year-old is facing a list of really serious charges tonight after his classmates alerted their bus driver he had a loaded gun. Now, this happened this morning on the way to College Park Elementary School. That's on Southwest 33rd Avenue in Ocala. Police say other students identified the boy who had the gun to officers who later found it under his seat. Police say the child admitted to taking the weapon without permission from a relative's secured bedroom and hiding it under his clothes to get it on the bus. They also say he admitted to showing the gun to other students, but said he did not intend to use it. The boy is just 9 years old, but he is facing all of these charges you see right there on your screen, and they're serious. They include possession of a firearm on school property, armed burglary, grand theft of a firearm, and resisting arrest without violence. He was arrested and taken to the Department of Juvenile Justice. In Flagler County, a 15-year-old is accused of pointing a gun at a classmate after school. This all started Friday when a Flagler Palm Coast High School student reported to police that Sean Goska Jr. pointed a gun at them in the bathroom of a nearby McDonald's.
That student also told police they believed Goska had the gun throughout the school day. Investigators say they found social media video of the incident and found a 9mm pistol and a loaded magazine in his closet. They say Goska admitted to pointing the gun at the victim and bringing it to school, but told deputies he was just playing around. His charges include aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill, possession of a firearm on school property by a minor.
Governor Ron DeSantis is defending the state's plan to overhaul vaccine mandates. While speaking in Plant City, he backed the rule change and threw his support behind the Surgeon General, who says it's the right move for parental rights.
And I think what the Surgeon General's position is the way you build trust is to provide information and use persuasion rather than try to ostracize people from society if they make a different choice.
A rule change from the health department is expected to take effect in early December. It eliminates the mandate for several vaccines, including hepatitis B, chickenpox, and meningitis. The mandate for several other shots, including measles, polio, diphtheria, pertussis, and mumps, would have to be lifted by the legislature. So this had us wondering if the discussion around vaccine mandates also applies to animals, since the state also mandates vaccines for pets.
So in a one-on-one interview with Florida's Lieutenant Governor, News 6's Laverne McGee asked about rabies shots.
For many people, dogs and cats are family members. But now Florida's Surgeon General says vaccines should not be mandatory for kids, saying parents know best. So what about people who consider their pets their children? According to Florida law, all dogs, cats, and ferrets 4 months of age or older must be vaccinated by a licensed veterinarian or a person authorized against rabies with a vaccine that is licensed by the United States Department of Agriculture for use in those species. We spoke with veterinarian Dr. Aaron Lindblad, owner of Garden Veterinary Clinic, about why the rabies vaccine doesn't just protect pets, but people too.
I would say the most important thing is that's what we call a zoonotic disease, meaning that it can be transferred from animals to humans. So it is a human health hazard. So it's very important because people can get the disease, but also the disease is fatal.
Vaccinate your pets for rabies. The Florida Department of Health also has this rabies prevention video on its website. It warns the rabies virus is very deadly, with nearly 100% fatal illness in humans and other mammals. I asked Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins, who has just been appointed to Florida's new Make America Healthy Again Commission, about vaccinations for pets. There's a law that says their dogs and cats have to have rabies shots. Is that something that you would look at?
Well, I think it's outside the scope of what we're talking about, but if people want to have that conversation, I would invite them into my office.
Collins didn't rule out repealing the rabies mandate, which for now remains in effect, with vets calling the vaccine life-saving.
You have to look at the risk versus the benefit. But in this situation, I do feel like the risk is pretty high to not vaccinate your pet from rabies.
On Wednesday, Orange County Animal Services will be giving free vaccinations to cats from 8 a.m. to noon at the shelter on Conroy Road. In Orlando, your community correspondent Laverne McGee, News 6.
Well, tonight, an assessment fee fight in Winter Springs.
Now, we've covered assessment fees soaring across Central Florida, especially at condo associations lately. But this potential hike would double fees in one of the oldest and largest subdivisions in Seminole County. We're talking about Tuscaloosa.
A third of the people who live in Winter Springs live in Tuscaloosa. That's around 4,000 homeowners. Your Winter Springs community correspondent, Eric Von Anken, is digging into this.
At the main entrance to the Tuscaloosa community is one of its most noticeable features, the fountain, newly repaired. The streetlights lining Winter Springs Boulevard are up for updating, and the median, once meticulously manicured, could use some care. But all of these things, of course, cost money to maintain, more so every year, according to the city of Winter Springs.
Anytime we ask our community for additional funding.
And according to this group, the Tuscaloosa Lighting and Beautification District Advisory Committee, which oversees the maintenance, and is asking city commissioners to approve hiking homeowners' fees to pay for the rising cost of maintenance.
Nobody wants a fee increase. I don't want one, you don't want one, but our community is really aging.
People who live here in Tuscaloosa have been paying for the maintenance in their tax bill since 1999, with a yearly assessment currently $128 per household.
Now, the Tuscaloosa Lighting and Beautification District, that's the TLBD, wants to double the annual assessment to $255. People just got this notice in their mailbox telling them about the proposed hike, and the vote on this tomorrow night at City Hall.
In this 130-page packet, the city explains the purpose of the proposed increase. Over the years, maintenance costs have increased beyond the maximum allowable rates, and the fund balance is depleting.
But after the notices showed up in mailboxes, more than half a dozen posts showed up on Facebook, generating collectively hundreds of comments, most of them strongly opposing any fee increase. The Winter Springs Community Association even organized a petition protesting the hike, and even one of the board members at the last meeting acknowledged the blowback.
Year after year, it just looks bad, and it just looks bad, and it just looks bad. People are thinking, what am I paying into it all? But we sure have some fountain situation going on over here. And I can't tell you how many people have said, screw the fountains.
And I can't tell you how many people are going to show up here at City Hall tomorrow night for the discussion and then the vote on this. But I can tell you the mayor has been asked to talk about this at several homeowners meetings recently. He said at one of them, organizers requested that police be there. That's how contentious this has gotten. We'll let you know what happens, of course. I'm your Winter Springs community correspondent, Eric Von Anken, News 6.
Don't remember our street being so flooded from just a regular rainstorm.
Still ahead, a community concerned about what could come after just a few inches of rain led to flooding around their homes. Their questions for their city.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health, helping the communities we serve to feel whole.
Holy, that's a bear.
Close call for a deputy and her canine in Volusia County. A sheriff's office there says that the pair that were in the woods looking for an aggravated battery suspect, they encountered that bear instead. In video from above, you can see just how close the deputy gets and her canine named Gator to the bear. Everybody, including the bear, got away unharmed, but a pretty close call there.
My goodness.
As we're tracking more rain in the forecast this week, overnight storms Sunday night brought several inches of rain to Volusia County, and in Port Orange and in New Smyrna Beach, it left homes and businesses flooded.
News 6's Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed went to Port Orange, where neighbors are on high alert for the rest of the week now.
This area of Port Orange saw just over 4 inches of rain last night, and still these houses in the Sleepy Hollow neighborhood went underwater, leading a lot of these homeowners to be more concerned as to what will happen if a major storm hits.
It's kind of disheartening to hear that there is going to be more rain this week, that from a 1-hour rainstorm did all of that damage. So what happened was the drains weren't draining.
Tina and Kevin Stevenson's home even sits elevated compared to the road, but this was inside their house Sunday night. They had French drains put in after the hurricanes in 2022 and 2024 flooded the area in hopes they would help.
For that reason, when it, gets flooded back there, it's supposed to just go through the pipes, the drains, and go to the main drain in the cul-de-sac. It couldn't do that because that was backed up.
It wasn't just their neighborhood that flooded in Port Orange Sunday night. This is the aftermath in Seaside Gymnastics Training Center off Eastport Parkway. A viewer on Palmetto Street sent us this video saying it was after about an hour of rain. And Lauren Benning on Brittany Avenue off Spruce Creek Road says the water nearly took over their car parked in the road. I don't remember our street being so flooded from just a regular rainstorm. Something is not right. Is that becoming more regular? It is. These homeowners we talked to now asking if the city's projects it's promised to update its stormwater system are actually working.
It begs the question, what are they doing? What kind of work are they doing? Are they coming out and are they actually checking their drains to see if they're clogged?
I reached out to the city this morning to ask these questions in an interview, but I was told no one was available to speak today. I'm in Port Orange, Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas has a look if we're going to see any more rain. Jonathan?
Yeah, we're going to be dodging some scattered showers and thunderstorms, and they could put down as much rain as they did last night. The key with what happened last night was that about 4 inches of rain came in about an hour, so it's really hard for any kind of drain to keep up with that amount of rain in that short of time. So that's something to be mindful of over the next couple of days, as well as we will continue to watch all of these downpours and thunderstorms develop and likely increase in coverage. You can track these storms over the next few days alongside me tonight with the News 6 weather app. That is, of course, free. Lightning is winding down, and again, the heaviest stuff also winding down. We have a new thunderstorm that's just popping up here right along the coast from about Oak Hill down to almost Playa Linda Beach. Mims, we are dry right now on the north side of town. We have that downpour developing. These are moving from north to south tonight. Some heavier rain there right along the Space Coast. We'll take you back into the storm we've been watching really for the last couple of hours. That's been hanging out to right on the Lake County, Seminole County border. Sanford, Lake Mary, we are dry right now, but we do have some lightning not too far away. So just keep that in mind. That's all pushing back from west to east tonight. And then finally, we have the reds going away. That's the heavier rain. We've been watching this cell hanging around Asatula. We're catching our break finally after some very heavy rain all evening. Most of the lightning, if not all of the lightning now. That's how you see that kind of peter out over the last kind of frames. Flood warning does continue. Just check the gauge here. We're at 28.5 feet on the Little Wekiva River at Altamont Springs. That puts us right at minor flood stage. So when we get to that point, minor flooding is occurring near the river, just near the river, near Altamont Springs or in the Altamont Springs area. The water should quickly come back down over the next hour or so. We just wanted to make sure, again, as that water came up really, really fast again because of the heavy rain we had this afternoon. 6, 7 o'clock tonight, again, most of these thunderstorms try to fizzle out and push off towards our south and west. Then getting back into tomorrow, we're going to do it all again, and notice through the overnight, we still have some downpours pushing through. So overnight tonight, we're not going to be completely dry as we keep things in this unsettled stretch. 1 o'clock tomorrow, I think we start to get things going and then quickly fill things in from a radar perspective. There's 4 to 5 o'clock tomorrow evening, and then widespread thunderstorms likely lingering late tomorrow night. So that 6, 7, 8 o'clock will likely be tracking those thunderstorms. Some of those, again, going to contain some very heavy rain. Here's a live look for us, Port Canaveral, Brevard County with our Launch Credit Union camera. Tonight, air temperatures back to the mid-80s. The humidity's cranked up as well. We're at 77 in Claremont, 77 degrees in Leesburg. Now here's a look at tomorrow.
Sponsored by Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. AC emergency, you ought to call Strata.
We're back to the mid to upper 80s. Rain chances tomorrow back up to 80%. On the tropical front, we're looking pretty good. No new development over the next 7 days expected. Here's our unsettled stretch. 80% shot on Tuesday, back to the upper 80s as well. Wednesday and Thursday, rain chances staying elevated over the next couple of days. Over the weekend, those rain chances go down. Some drier air going to filter in now. It may not be cooler over the weekend, but I do think the humidity is going to go down for the first time this season. So that's...
Well, you can't have it all, and I'll take it.
It's going to feel much
All right,
loss of humidity, gladly.
All right, Ryan's here now in sports.
A lot to unpack from a busy weekend on the gridiron.
Especially in the swamp and inside that Miami Dolphins facility. We'll break down the good, the bad, and the ugly following opening weekend in the NFL. Plus, a UCF Knight is honored. Before we go to break, Orlando City saying so long to one of its top forwards. The team transferring Ramiro Enrique to a club in Saudi Arabia. The 24-year-old should fetch some nice compensation. We'll be right back. Welcome back to News 6. Not a bad opening act for the National Football League. Some Week 1 statements were made, including this one by the Bucs yesterday in Atlanta. Baker Mayfield rallying Tampa to a thrilling 23-20 victory at the Falcons. The Liam Cohen era in Jacksonville got off to a successful start with yesterday's 26-10 win over the Panthers. Rookie Travis Hunter played offense and defense, and Travis Etienne rushed for 143 yards for the Jags. The Dolphins, meanwhile, have all sorts of questions to answer after their 33-8 loss at the Colts. Tua Tagovailoa turned the ball over 3 times, while Indy scored on all 7 of its possessions. Some thoughts now from the 3 in-state head coaches.
4 out of the first 5 drives were turnovers, and 24 points came off those turnovers.
Those guys didn't blink, whether it was penalties, a bad play, or anything else. And this is the first time they've played that many plays in a ball game.
Got to hang out with my kids and my wife, which was nice to take some moments there. But really happy for the team.
All right, no game for UCF this week, but we do have a kickoff time for the Tar Heels visit to the Bounce House September 20th. That game will kick off at 3:30. Night Nation hoping Jaden Nixon's got more left in the tank for that one. The UCF back was named Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week after rushing for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns in the Knights' blowout win over North Carolina A&T on Saturday. Added a 96-yard kickoff return, and Nixon racked up 252 all-purpose yards. So the Gators now turn their attention to the SEC opener at LSU. Florida's about a 10-point underdog following a stunning home loss to USF Saturday night. Bulls kicker Nico Gramatica finishing off the upset with a field goal as time expired. But make no mistake, folks, this was a Gators loss more than a Bulls win.
Not to discredit South Florida, but I think we contributed to their efforts quite a bit. Obviously, over 100 yards of penalties, which has to be addressed. What are we going to do with the lessons that we learned, and what are we going to do with the emotions that we feel?
Well, they're going to go to LSU, ranked number 3 in the country this Saturday, so good luck with that.
Yeah, well, here's a good lesson. Don't spit in a guy's face at the very end of the game.
That's a good idea.
That was crazy, just handing yards over.
For sure.
Ryan, thank you so much. We appreciate it. More news coming up at 9 o'clock at clickorlando.com and the News 6 Plus streaming app.
We'll see you then. Have a great night, everybody.